Hello, good morning, and thank you for joining me here at the O'Rourke Report. Um, just want to remind you, as I always do in the beginning, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do hit the subscription, hit the notification, more important, hit the subscribe button, because this way, every time I put out new content, it'll pop up in your feed, and you won't miss any of the good stuff. So, bop bop, subscribe, notify, but mostly subscribe. Okay, good. Now, let's go on to let me just write this down, onto the OC. Now, this week's episode was the first part of their reunion, and they had some interesting things come up. But before I go into that, let me just make a couple of read a couple of notes I made up here. Heather Dubrow. Heather Dubrow, longtime viewers will note, always does everything correct. That's her goal. She needs to do it correctly and explain things correctly. Always be right. ABR. That is Heather's motto. And even on the reunion couch, if you see her posture, she is very much like royalty. The back is not touching the back of the chair, the legs are positioned just so, and she answers and sits with the perfect posture the entire, I don't know, I think these poor women are there for hours. But not Heather. Heather will muscle through. And unfortunately, because of Heather's desire to be right about everything, and it's her North Star, it's how she does things. It kind of renders her unlikable. I think that's what people don't like Heather. It's because she's too precise, she's too right, she's too perfect. What's the answer for that? I mean, if she does anything other than what she's doing right now, that'll be totally inauthentic. But if she does have some sort of human foibles, she should see if she can't show them. May help her a little bit with people liking her. But people do love her. I mean, she's obviously got a lot of fans. But she could even have more fans if she wasn't so unlikable. Again, I always like to give a tip of the hat to the producers and the editors. Very often you'll see that wherever any housewife gathers, they'll somehow, give props to the venue that they're at, whether it be a restaurant or, some resort. And I don't know what episode it was, but all these women were at a restaurant called Agape, Agape. And of course, the camera goes right up on it. Strange name for a restaurant, don't you think? Agape. Okay. Um, oh, and I do want to mention where we see, I think this was right before the reunion episode. I forget where they were, but Shannon was having one of her usual meltdowns, and she gets into it with Katie, who's the new girl who's picking the fights with Heather. She gets into it with Katie's husband. She came across, I think what we saw in that whole exchange is probably what Kim, oh gosh, what's his name? The actor Booster, um, was claiming he saw with Heather, which is this arrogance. I don't know. She must think being a real housewife of the OC just elevates her above anybody who questions her, because then she can come right back with her snarky and snippy little comments. And halfway through, she realized what she was doing and tried to back, or the position she was taking was the wrong position. I don't even know what the argument was over. And it wasn't even an argument. Katie's husband was trying to give her some comfort and have a nice conversation with her, and Katie wasn't having it. And we saw her arrogance. She's not a very nice person. Mm-mm. And unlike Heather, who endeavors to never be perceived as that, Shannon could care less as that's how she's being perceived. Okay, don't have much to say on the reunion. We do see Heather and Katie go back and forth about this ridiculous um, who called the paparazzi moment. I remember when those photos were released. I don't know where I saw them on Instagram, someplace. And this is a good 2.5, 3 years ago that these photos came out. But they were obviously staged and staged in such a way that you thought the DeBros were in on the joke. I mean, there was these exaggerated poses and smiles and gazing off into the distance, both she and her husband, Terry DeBro. And it looked staged, but it also looked like a joke, like it wasn't meant to be um, one of these stalkerazzi photos. It looked very much like the DeBros were fully aware that they were being photoed or having their photo taken, and they were enjoying it. And if that's the case, who knows? Terry DeBro may have called the paparazzi and not Heather. But I don't see why Heather thinks that's such a black mark. I think it will show a weakness in her mind. It would show a weakness that she felt that she needed some publicity, so she called the paparazzi and staged this photo op. I think it was at a zoo or something. Um, and Heather would not stand for that being perceived as having to garner paparazzi attention. Doesn't it just come automatically? But anyway, the only other comment I want to make about the reunion, besides Heather's posture, which was, it looked torturous, is Gina's hair. You know, Gina had very, very bad hair the first couple of seasons. She finally got her shite together. She had it cut and styled short, chunky blonde highlights in a blonde hair, and it just looked great. I don't even know how to describe this hair that she's got for the reunion. It is atrocious. Where did her eye go? Or more to the point, where did her wonderful stylist who had a fantastic eye, where did he or she go? Because he or she is not present in any way, shape, or form in this reunion. So that's what I thought was going on there. Okay, let's go on to Salt Lake. Tell me, I'm going to say something. Tell me if you don't agree. Todd, the husband of Bronwyn, we discussed him last week, how he really flexed his muscles and was kicking the Barlows out of his $20,000 a night uh, house in Palm Springs. But is he or is he not giving Tom Girardi vibes? Do you remember the couple of few episodes, less than a handful, less than 5 times did we see Eric Girardi with her husband, and her husband was very dismissive to Erica. He put her in her place repeatedly in front of other people, and because he was the one with the wallet, Erica kept her mouth shut and put up with it. I get a kind of a sense that this Bronwyn is going through the same thing, and he's just giving me Tom Girardi vibes. I think that's all I have on Salt Lake, right? Yeah, there was an episode last night. I'll watch that and put something out later this week. Potomac literally is getting seedier and seedier, if that's possible. I don't even know who the two new people are. Besides the one that I think there's 3 new people, 2 of which I don't even know who they are. And the only reason I know the third is because she's very effective in getting herself into almost every conversation. This is the one that worked at QVC. Doesn't appear to be very bright, but hold on 1 second. Thank you. Okay. She doesn't appear to be very bright. I don't know if it is an act. Oh, she's the one who's dating the guy, but they're not having a sexual relationship because he wants to wait until they're married. He's mid-40s. He's never been married. So I don't know if he's a virgin. I don't know. But if he's a 45-year-old man and he's still a virgin, this may be something else is involved besides being a religious thing. I don't know, but there's something very inauthentic about the relationship. However, they are both extremely polite and caring with each other. So maybe if it's only a friendship, you couldn't ask for something better. I mean, the guy adores her. He's there for her. But when I think of the other women in this cast, they'll tear that down. They'll tear that down, and they'll make both of them feel like fools until they get to the bottom of it. And I got a kick out of Karen calling her DWI or a DUI citation as allegations. Hell, I don't. Yeah, well, I guess they are allegations. Actually, they have to be proven in court. But she is, boy, she's gonna dig in her heels on this, and she's gonna insist that the high road is hers, and it shall remain hers for infinity and beyond. So that's the way she's going with that. One small little thing about RHONY, two small little things. Um, Erin and Abe, I think we're, even though it was released today in the news that Erin is pregnant, so obviously she's still having relations with her husband, but there is more drama to come in that relationship apparently. And I thought it was very curious. There was a scene where she was putting together packages in their living room, and he sits down on the couch to talk to her, and she stops everything and she looks at him and she goes, "You've just messed everything up on the couch." Oops, sorry, I just messed up my camera. And he hadn't messed anything up on the couch. He didn't sit on any papers or mess her display at all. But she wanted to cut his dick off, and she did right in front of the camera. So gave me a little insight onto that relationship and where part of the problem may be. I mean, all these women are uber, I would think, are uber aware of the camera. And why would you do that to your partner on camera? I don't know. I thought that was interesting. The other thing that I don't know if interesting's the word, cringeworthy, I think is the word. Bryn carrying on with Erin's father. Oh God, that was more than cringeworthy. But boy, oh boy, look, Cupid doll never misses the opportunity. And the other thing I wanted to mention about New York was Raquel. We got to know a little bit more about Raquel, and I did do a little reading on her. Apparently, she is a art curator, where when you're up there making the bucos and you've got these grand estates or apartments or rooms, and you have to curate your art. You have to have somebody who'll help you find the right piece of art, the right artist up and coming. This is her job, and apparently she's she's up there. She's up there in the art world in New York, which is an important place to be. But I got the sense that she's 10 years divorced, over 10 years, but she's still pining over the fact that apparently her ex-husband, was also in the art world, and she was his muse. And once you get divorced and you're not the muse anymore, the artist remains, but his muse changed, and she's still lamenting the fact that she's perhaps not as powerful as she used to be when she was partnered with the ex-husband. I thought to myself, what a waste of time. That's 10 years ago. You're knocking it out of the park as an art curator. Anybody could Google it. You can see she's very successful. And I just thought she was wasting time lamenting what her status used to be. And the only other thing I will You know she's in the art world when you see somebody actually wearing one of those big, ridiculous puffer coats, like I think Kanye put them out there. I mean, like the Michelin Man puffer coats, ridiculous. You know, you couldn't even sit on a train with these things with the thing on without taking up two seats. So very affected, still pining over something she shouldn't be pining over, equals somebody very interesting to watch. So anyway, that is all I have for today. I'm going to sign off per usual, reminding subscribe please. This way you'll always be notified when we come up with new content, and I will look forward to seeing you back here again at the O'Rourke Report.